Hi, so welcome to our weekly Q&A. I only have one question in here, but I'll keep looking to see if anybody adds any questions. I want to continue talking about nutrition and blood sugar balancing as well. So the only question I see is that I have a question about sprouting oats. All of you that have been following me for a while know that I don't like to have rolled oats or instant oats. Those are processed. So I always like to sprout my oats and then make overnight oats or use them for whatever. So this says, I have a question about sprouting oats. I've tried sprouting twice and both times they've become moldy. I am in Florida, so can I sprout in the refrigerator? So they won't sprout in the refrigerator. It will be too cold. It's hard to troubleshoot without just talking to you. It's possible they need to be rinsed more often, or they're not getting enough airflow. And so you have to make sure that the right angle and that the grid or screen, or some people use muslin, a linen cloth, whatever it is, there has to be enough airflow getting in. And so it may just be the angle. Sometimes people will sit them in a bowl and maybe there's just not enough airflow. And so it's possible that they're getting too wet, or they're not getting enough airflow. We don't want them to be too wet. Other than that, I don't know. Do you rinse your seeds? So I rinse my seeds. I'll usually rinse them under really hot water and then cold water. I don't know why, but seeds are dirty. We collect seeds here on our farm and seeds are really dirty. And so I just rinse them really good under hot water and then under cold water. And then I use a sterile jar. And so you may have to tell me what you're doing differently if you're not doing that. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say about that. Anyway, I hope that helps. So if somebody pops on and asks another question, then I am really happy to answer any questions that pop up. But I was going to continue on with blood sugar. That is kind of my theme for the next month. And so I wanted to talk about foods related to blood sugar. A lot of times we could have insulin resistance. That's related to our blood sugar. If we have insulin resistance, insulin is not getting into the cell. It's not able to move the sugar from the blood into the cell. And that could be caused from a DHA deficiency or omega-3 deficiency. And so it could be you're not getting enough DHA in your body. So that just it's like a broken record. Walnuts, hemp seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, deep cold water fish, chlorella, spirulina, these things are all helpful for that. So you could put some chlorella or some spirulina in a smoothie bowl. I always top my smoothie. I always put a little bit of chlorella in mine because I'm out of spirulina. And I always top my smoothie bowls with chia, flax, hemp, or walnuts, or a combination, but always. And not a little bit, a tablespoon of ground flax, or a tablespoon of chia, or a tablespoon of hemp seeds, or a couple of tablespoons of walnuts. And so don't be afraid. It can't just be sprinkling a quarter teaspoon, and that's not going to meet your needs. So you need to make sure you're getting good quality omega-3 fatty acids. You have to have the right balance of omega-6s to omega-3s. So we say eat lots of nuts and seeds, and people hear, almonds are healthy. They switch from dairy because dairy is inflammatory, and then they're drinking a lot of almond milk. So if you're drinking a lot of almond milk and then you're eating pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, those are really good for you, but that throws off that balance. So remember what I said before, we need those omega-3s, the walnuts, chia, flax, hemp. So if you're just sprinkling a quarter teaspoon of hemp seeds on your smoothie bowl, but then you're eating lots of almonds and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, you're eating really healthy, but you still don't have that balance quite right. And so it's making sure you're focusing on those omega-3s. It used to be hundreds of years ago, people would eat about a 1-to-1 ratio, and now it's like a 25-to-1 ratio because we keep hearing about these things. Like for me, I love pumpkin seeds, and I probably eat more pumpkin seeds than I should, but I do eat a lot of omega-3s first thing in the morning. And I do sprinkle pumpkin seeds on everything because I love them, but that's going to tilt me kind of the wrong way, right? So I have to make sure it's balanced right. It could be trans fats, so make sure trans fats out. I don't care what you're eating. We don't want any trans fats in anything. It could be from nutrient deficiencies. It could be a deficiency of chromium, magnesium, zinc, B vitamins, boron, or lithium. Well, how do you know that? Well, your doctor's not going to run a test letting you know if you have a deficiency in any of these things. But if you eat the rainbow, I need to bring back the rainbow challenge. My memories keep popping up. Apparently this was the week we did the rainbow challenge last year. So I'll definitely put a rainbow challenge together because we need to do that. You need to try to eat the rainbow at every meal, all of those different colors. If you can eat all of those different colors at every meal, lots of greens. Now, if you're one of my clients, you know, greens 3 times a day. Greens, 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 and not spinach all day long. Just like with almonds all day long, that can throw your balance off. Too much spinach can too. And so you make sure variety in your greens, but making sure that you eat the rainbow all throughout the day will help eliminate any of those deficiencies. So that's another great way to help with insulin resistance. Avoid high glycemic snacks, meals, and drinks. So a lot of people like juices, and juices are great, but if they have too much fruit juice, that's going to be treated like sugar in your body. Looking at your snacks. Anytime you have a snack, I don't care what it is, you know, pick up a Kind bar, you know, those are healthy, you know, whatever, flip it over and read the ingredients. You would be surprised when you see those different things in there. So like for me, I love Mary's Gone crackers. If I'm going to have a cracker, very occasionally, not every day, but they do have rice flour in them. Not a lot, it's mostly seeds, but just that could spike someone's blood sugar. So if you're someone who already has insulin resistance, then that might not be the right choice for you. Let's eliminate it for a while we restore your insulin receptors. And insufficient protein. You have to make sure you're getting enough protein. And so the first thing anyone says when they hear that I don't eat animal products is, where do you get your protein? There's protein in your greens, number one. And I do use protein powders. I know that's not a whole food, but if you don't want to use protein powders, use hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are so high in protein. And you could use green peas. A lot of people put green peas in their smoothies instead of pea protein. I use pea protein. Get your nutrients in place. So that's eating the rainbows, avoiding any inflammatory foods. If you're trying to restore those insulin receptors, it is so important that you remove anything that could be inflammatory. No dairy, no heated oils, no trans fats, no processed foods. You've got to get these under control. And that would be cold turkey, not at all until everything is set. And then you can start adding back foods occasionally. We don't want to eat inflammatory foods, but once you break that cycle, once you can go a few weeks without eating it, then you're over that hump and you can be just fine. So I have a lot of clients that can't have soup without crackers. Well, if you can go, you know, just find an alternative, something you can do instead. After a week or two, you don't need the crackers anymore. I used to be that way. I used to eat all these things too. I haven't always been like this. Another thing is staying hydrated. You have to drink at least half your body weight in water. If you drink a caffeinated beverage, then that's going to add another cup of water because caffeine is dehydrating. And so making sure you're drinking at least half your body weight in water. Don't jump. If you're not drinking any water right now, don't drink half your body weight in water the rest of today, because then you'll be up all night going to the bathroom. Your body has to get used to it. Work your way up. You know, increase by a cup a day until you can get there, or half a cup, whatever you can do. Make it a goal to get at least half your body weight in water by next weekend. That would be a great way to do it. Making sure you're getting your greens, making sure you're getting your omega-3s, eating the rainbow foods. These are all great ways to get all the nutrients that you need. Some other things you can do are adding in sea vegetables. So sea vegetables are very high in all of your minerals and amino acids. And so we don't eat those often here in the US, but you can just, if you follow me, you know, I'll tear like an inch of kombu or nori and throw it into my pot if I'm cooking beans, if I'm making my own broth. So that helps. I also have the dulse and the shaker. I buy mine from Maine Coast Foods, but you can get it from somewhere reliable. Make sure you see where it's coming from. We don't want any radiation in our seafood, but you can buy it in a shaker and you can shake it on your food and then you don't even taste it. And they even have a sea salt that is made with sea vegetables that I love. You don't taste the sea vegetables, but it just adds minerals to your sea salt. I love it. So foods to trash. Any high glycemic carbohydrates, that's your refined foods. Anything with added sugars, anything that doesn't have fiber, we're going to toss it out. Heated fats. So a lot of times people don't realize, you know, a potato chip is a heated fat. So not only is it processed, if you make it at home and you put oil on it and you bake your own potato chips, that is healthier than a bag of potato chips, but you're heating that oil. It's very inflammatory. It does damage to your body, damages those cell receptors. So if you want to make potato chips, that's actually not something you're going to do, because potatoes can be high glycemic too, until you restore those insulin receptors. And then once you do that, I can help you make a healthier potato chip. Processed fats, trans fats, heated fats, gone. If you are trying to restore your insulin receptors, you need to remove the top allergens. That would be peanuts, that's soy, that's dairy, that's eggs, while you're restoring these cell receptors. Corn, you just while you're doing that, and then you can start testing foods back, but you've got to get the insulin receptors working first. And making sure you're buying organic. You know, pesticides or toxins, those toxins cause damage and they can affect you as well. So some alternatives. Sometimes you'll see me using stevia extract. I make my own. Remember, if you're using a stevia white powder, that is a highly processed food. While that can help you with your insulin receptors, it doesn't help you with your long-term health. It's better to use the real stevia herb. Stevia is a green leaf. You can grow it in your yard. We've tried. We haven't been very successful, but we're continuing to try. Eliminate all flours. Any flour, whole wheat flour, rice flour, gluten-free breads that are made with rice flour, potato flour, tapioca flour. You can't eat those while you're trying to restore your insulin receptors. Once you're done, that can be an occasional thing, but not. We're just eliminating for good. Quinoa is okay. I think we talked about this last week. Potatoes are not. No tropical fruits. Now, if you are living in a tropical area where you eat tropical fruits regularly and your blood sugar is under control, then eat them. But if your blood sugar is not under control, then let's eliminate them while you restore those insulin receptors. Dried fruits, like dates. I love dates. I've been using them in some desserts lately because I'm in birthday season now. And that's a healthy food. It's a whole food. I don't have insulin resistance, so it's okay for me and my family, but we eat it occasionally, not all the time. But if you are working on rebuilding those insulin receptors, then you need to eliminate even dried fruit, raisins, craisins, dates, all of those. There are fruits that you can eat. Fruit is a very healthy choice, very high in vitamins. Green apples, blueberries, most of your berries are fine too. Just pay attention. So remember from the video a few weeks ago, I showed you how to test your blood sugar. Eat some fruit and see what your blood sugar does. Every 15 minutes, usually about 45 minutes after you eat is when it spikes, but hopefully you've tested and seen where your spike is. If you eat a fruit, then test it and see what happens to your body. We talked about not eating heated oils. We talked about adding your omega-3s and just going through my list. Foods that can help are all of your greens. Remember, greens 3 times a day. Some people do great with blueberries, some do not. So blueberries are helpful for some, but not everybody. So there's no one size fits all. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. That can help. Ginger, cardamom, cinnamon, and your sea vegetables. Those are always great. And then you want to work on your microbiome. So eating foods that are prebiotic, if you can get them, you can include them in different forms. Jerusalem artichoke, chicory root. Those things are great for feeding the beneficial bacteria. Some people like to use cabbage. Cabbage is great for your intestinal linings, but your intestinal lining is so important too, to improve your health and to improve the health of your cells. Garlic and onion, also fabulous for the microbiome. And then there's some different things you can use. Medicinal mushrooms. They are adaptogens, they are anti-inflammatory, they help with insulin resistance and triglycerides. Remember, we talked about last week how insulin and your triglycerides kind of go hand in hand there as well. So let me pop over and see if there were any other questions that came in. I'm not seeing any. I think that we've covered enough for today. If you have any questions, please post in the comment. I would love to answer what you want to hear and learn about. And so I want to hear from you. Have a fabulous week.